We are a 9/11 Foundation born out of the tragedy that occurred on September 11th, 2001. We're here today as a direct result of a tragedy that happened in your city just a little over 24 hours ago. We have an announcement that we would like to make, and to make that announcement, I'd like to introduce our CEO and Chairman, Frank Silla, to say a few words.
Thank you, John. Thank you, Mayor, for having us here tonight, Commissioner. It saddens me to be here today, but I knew it was our duty and our obligation to make sure that we as Americans come together to take care of the family that was left behind of Deputy U.S. Marshal Christopher David Hill, who was killed yesterday in the line of duty. He leaves behind a wife and 2 young children. Deputy Hill was responding to a warrant for arrest of an individual wanted on suspicion of illegal possession of firearms and making terrorist threats. I never met Deputy Hill, but I know what type of person he was. He's a man that served his country in Afghanistan while he was serving in the U.S. Army. When he returned home, he became a U.S. Marshal. He was a member of a Special Operations Force in which less than 1% get to serve in. He was involved in so many situations that put his life in danger. What an American hero who paid and made the ultimate sacrifice. The Stephen Silla Tunnel to Towers Foundation was born of the sacrifice that my brother made on September 11, 2001. Stephen was finished his night tour in Squad 1 in Brooklyn and on his way home when he heard on the radio scanner that the buildings were hit. He turned his truck around, went back to the firehouse, got his gear, drove to the mouth of the Brooklyn Battery Tunnel, which was closed for security reasons, strapped 60 pounds of gear on his back. The Brooklyn Battery Tunnel was nearly 2 miles long. He ran through that tunnel, up West Street, to the South Tower, up the stairs into that burning inferno to save others, in which he made the ultimate sacrifice while saving others. We started the foundation to honor him and the sacrifice that he made and so many others made that day. Which brings us to the fact that since September 11, 2001, there has been a tremendous price paid by our men and women in uniform and by our first responders around this country. And we must, as a nation, come together to make sure that we say to these families, if your husband or your wife go out and protect our streets and our neighborhoods and our country, that if something happens to them, that we, as Americans, are going to take care of the family left behind who died in the line of duty. Which brings me to the special announcement that we're going to make here today. The Tunnel to Towers Foundation wants to take the lead in raising the money to pay off Deputy U.S. Marshal Christopher David Hill's mortgage. We're starting the campaign. The Tunnel to Towers is making the first donation of $100,000 to pay off their mortgage. And our promise, our commitment, is that in a very, very short period of time, that Deputy Hill's family will never have to worry about their home again. God knows they have enough to deal with. Thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you, Frank. Just to make sure